Hello again. Now we're going to do the next lot of all of these. We're going to do all of these quickly. Now we want to see if the second student's average is above 90. So we look over here, the second, the average of all the marks. So we want to get the average of those four and see if it's above 90. So we're going into row number 2. And we're going to use iCol. Get the sum of all of those numbers and RF real. So I'm going to go for iCol equals 4 to 7 because those are our columns for the marks. Begin and end. And we're going to get our total variable because remember we've got to get a total if you're going to calculate an average. Set our total to 0, then say our total equals our total plus a data square brackets row what student number 2. Okay, row 2, column iCol. And I'm not going to worry about a counter because I know there's 4, 5, 6, 7, so there's 4 marks altogether. R average, RAV equals our total divided by our col. 4, sorry. So there are 4 marks, and we want to see if the average was greater than 90. And then we're going to say if RAV is greater than 90, then we'll display yes, else we'll display no. And I'm copying and pasting to save time. Okay. There it is. Okay, semicolon. Got to click this read button all the time. I think it's average is less than or equal to 90. So that's number 2. Yeah. They didn't want to know if it was equal to 90 or above 90, so that's number 2. The age of the oldest student. Woohoo. So we're going to go through each one of these and see what is the oldest number. The highest number, that's all. So we're going to go down the rows for column 2. That's easy. So our col will be 2, and the rows, we're going to go down the rows. And we've got to get our highest, and we're going to do the same thing. Our highest will be the first column for, the second column, the first row. A data, row 1, column 2, and then we'll go for our row. Go down the rest of the rows equals 2 to 5. Begin and end. If A data square brackets R row column 2, if that's greater than our highest, then we have our highest equal to, take note how we are now going down the rows 2 to 5 and staying with column 2 because the age is in column 2. Let me make 100% sure about that. Yes, it is. And then all we're going to do now is display in our list box into string our highest is the highest age. There we go. See, remember, it's all the rows, but starting at row 1, we're going to set the highest to row 1, and then we're going from 2 to 5 to check all of those, all in column 2. Column is second. Right, so let's do it. This is how we do it. 19 is the highest age. Okay, next one. 11. It's the older student. Now, student number of the student who obtained the highest mark for the exam. So we have to go through column 7 for all the rows and see which one was the highest, and then keep the student number safe as well. So VAR, we need S student. Oh no, yes, R stud, comma R row, colon integer, and R highest. So we go highest mark again. We're doing the R high. I'm just going to call it R high because seriously, I don't want to type all the time. We make R high equal to the first one, A data, row 1, column 7. The exam is in that box there, and then we're going to go for our row equals 2 to 5, 2 to 5, and we're going to do the same thing again. If R high is greater than A data, R row comma 7 for column 7, then we have a new R high will be equal to that particular cell. But on top of that, we need to store our stud. Oops. The student number must be kept safe. A data, R row, column 1. This column 1 has the student number. There it is. So we're keeping that safe, and then at the end of it all, we will display in the list box into string R student, because it's all integers. A number has the highest mark of plus int to string R high. So it's a big long mouthful that I've put in there. Joined a whole lot of strings together, the student number and the message and the highest number, the highest mark as well for the exam, because it's column 7. So student number 2004. Oh no, that's the highest mark. Oh my word. If A data is greater than R high, how stupid I can be. I was busy getting the lowest mark. Right. If the array box number is greater than R high, do you see that, what I did there? Bad, bad, bad. Highest mark of 92, 2002, 2, whatever, number 2 there has the highest mark of 92. So that was perfectly fine. I just didn't have this right. Hey, got to check ourselves all the time. Right, the student number with the highest outstanding fees. Guys, I'm copying and pasting now, seriously. Watch me copy and paste. Da, 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 da. C. 12. Right, we are dealing with the highest fees, outstanding fees is column 3. So instead of a 7, you're going to put a 3. And the student number with the highest outstanding fees. And they want the student number, do they? I guess they do, hey? It's the same algorithm as the other one, just if we're dealing with this column here. We get that equal to 1, row 1, column 3, and then we go 2 to 5. Our row equals 2 to 5. Our row column 3, highest student number, has the highest outstanding fees. Yep, because it was of that amount. So it's exactly the same logic as the other one, except that we're dealing with column number 3 instead of column number 7. So there it is, and it is correct. But that's not the right number there. That's not the right number at all. So we just need to display the right thing here, and that is column 1, our stud, column 1. Okay, because I forgot to put in column 1 there. No, that's the highest mark. 2005 is highest number of outstanding fees. And did I actually do that correctly? Yes, I did do it correctly there. I just put a 3 there instead of, should have kept that because that's a student number field. Right, moving on. Student with the highest average mark. Oopsie doopsie daisy. Right, highest average mark. So each student. So we're going to calculate the average for each thing. Didn't we do this already? I feel like we've done it already. No, we probably got the highest average mark. We're going to calculate the average for each row. I'm going to keep a running average. We're going to keep the highest average for each one. So that's actually going to be quite tricky. So we're in not 12, we're in number 13. So we actually are going to go through every single row and every column. So okay, that's be fine. And we're not worrying about highest and lowest now. We're just going to calculate the average for each one. So for our row equals 1 to 5, do begin. Now we must put begin and end because guess what? We're going to get a total, our total. We're going to set our total to 0. And maybe we'll set our count to 0 for that row so we can calculate the average. So I've got to get our count and our tot as variables there. And yes, I'm going to use rav as well for a real variable. And then I'm going to say for our col equals 4 to 7. Do begin and end. And we're going to say our tot equals r tot, the previous r tot, plus a data, square brackets, r row, comma, r col. Fine, and we will increment our count. We know it's 4, 5, 6, 4 thingies, but never mind. Just to the concept. Now I'm going to calculate our average over here. So that'll be the average for that particular row. So this is calculating the average, say, for row 1. Okay, so we start initializing our variables for row 1. Okay, and then we add these numbers up into our total variable, a row, because it's going from 4 to 7, and we increment a counter, we divide average by that. But now we have to get a highest, and I'm going to r highest, I'm call it r high, and we will set r high to 0. And obviously anything's going to be greater than 0, so I'm not going to take the first one. So I'll say if r tot is greater than r high, then we have r high, this is our highest average, equals, not r tot, sorry, r average, rave, then R high is our average, our newest average. Okay, now we want the student number with the highest average mark. We've got to keep that student number safe as well. So besides keeping that variable R high, we also need to get the student number. So I'm actually going to use a S num, and I'll convert it. So I'm going to say S num when we find an average that's the highest. Okay, we're doing it here before we go to the next. This is the end of the end of our row for loop. Okay, and this is before we go to the end of the row of the for loop. And I'm going to go and save the student number, which is in column 1 for whatever our row is int to string a data r row column number 1. And why am I converting it to a string? Well, because it's all integers, and I've got to eventually go and put it in a list over here after everything. So in our loop, we're going to have row 1. Okay, so we initialize our counters. Over here, we're calculating the total in the counter, and then after that, after this for loop, we go and calculate the average, and we check if our average is greater than the global highest, and the highest is set to 0, so it will be, the first one will be, and then we'll have R high being the average, and then we'll save the name there, and it'll go through all of the rows, and if anyone's higher than that, then it will replace these values. And over here we will just go and list box items.add. snum, that's the student number, has the highest average of plus. So we'll join that to a float to string f or av ff fixed, comma 8, comma 0. We'll round it to no decimal places. So it's big long string R high, no, not R av, R high, because that's the highest average. Right, remember we set R high to 0, and each time we go through the rows, we might have a new R high there. And we're going to, is it as the highest outstanding fees? Okay, 13, highest average of 89. Right, well, I guess that looks okay. And of course we do need to put spaces there. Right, next one, 14. The lowest overall mark between all test exams and assignments. The lowest of all of these. So that's going to be quite simple. We're going to go through every single row and all the columns 4 to 7. And we have an I low. I'm going to set I low equal to 0. Well, I suppose we could do a data, the first one, yikes. No, we'll just set it to 0. And then we'll say for I row equals, it's quite safe to set it to 0 as well, 1 to 5, and for our col, see, I'm not doing anything extra there, equals 4 to 7, because I'm going through every single one. I'm not worrying about anything. So if a data square brackets R row comma R col, if that is less than R low, then R low equals to that cell. And then we just go and display the lowest mark in the list box. into string I low. And there it is. So we're going through every single one. In fact, I didn't even have to put begin and end there, because these are all statements. If you want to be conservative about how much statements you make, you don't need begin and end, because this is a line, this is a single statement on its own. And let's see if it's correct. Because we're going from all the boxes 4 to 7, so it is feasible to do, oops, 13, no, what? Why is it naught? Oops, we have to start with a high mark, not a low mark. Okay, let's start with 100, eh? So the highest mark you can get is 100, so that's fine. I started with naught. Nothing is less than naught. Oh, dearie me. Lowest mark is 52, and that is correct, yes. And it was safe to start with 100, because there aren't any marks greater than 100. Right. We're now going to do the next one, the last one, because that was all tests and exams. The lowest mark of the student number 2004. So student number 2004 is that one in row 4. So lowest mark for that student number, VARI colon integer. Now because we're dealing with a single array basically, so I can then go say R low equals the first one for that student number. In other words, column number 4, and then we can go from 5 to 7, because it's like a single line there. So I'm going to say R low equals A data row 4 column 4, and then I can go for the rest of those for R col equals 5 to 7. We can then go and do if A data row 4 column I col, because remember R col is going to go from 5 to 7. If that is less than R low, then we have a new R low equals that. And then we can go and display it inside the list box after the loop, after everything is done, into string R low. Yes, I put begin and end there, that's fine. And the lowest mark for that particular person is 52. Right, so that's it for today, folks. See you again later.